I probably shouldn't have let my boss come over in the first place. But I did, and now it's a whole mess I can't even explain. My name is Kali, I'm 32 years old, and I live in Indiana with my husband Eric, who's 36. We've been married for 9 years, got 2 kids, Ethan, 8, and Mia, 5. On paper, it sounds solid, but if I'm being real, our marriage ain't been great for a while. I mean, Eric's a decent guy, don't get me wrong. He works hard at this warehouse job and takes care of the kids when I need him to. But sometimes it's like he's just there, no drive, no ambition. It's like I'm married to a roommate who folds laundry. I work at a small marketing firm as an assistant to my boss, Nathan. He's 44, sharp dresser, always the loudest guy in the room. People respect him, and yeah, I like being around people who get respect. Nathan's got this energy that makes you want to move faster, do better. I guess that's why I mentioned him to Eric more than I should. I wasn't even trying to compare them at first, but it kind of just happened. Anyway, a few Fridays ago we had this work event, and Nathan says we should all get together after. Relax for once. I told him I couldn't because I had to get home to Eric and the kids. But then Nathan says, why don't I just come with you? I'll bring a bottle. At first, I laughed it off, but he was serious. I don't know why I agreed. I told myself it was 'cause I wanted to prove to him I had a stable home life. Dumb, I know. When we got home, Eric was in sweatpants and an old college t-shirt, sitting on the couch with a bowl of popcorn watching some cop show. The kids were playing Roblox on the tablet. It wasn't exactly the put-together look I had in mind, but it is what it is. Hey babe, I said, walking in with Nathan behind me. I told you my boss Nathan, right? He's stopping by for a bit. Eric glanced up, barely looking Nathan's way, and just said, oh, okay. Not hey, nice to meet you, not welcome in, just oh. I felt embarrassed before anything even happened. Nathan, of course, filled the room with his whole personality, walked in like he owned the house, set the wine bottle on the counter, and said, nice little setup you got here, man, real cozy. Cozy was definitely shade, but Eric didn't catch it. I went to grab some glasses, and I hear Nathan say, so what do you do, Eric? I'm at the shipping center over on Broad Street, Eric said, still half watching his show like this wasn't a big deal. Shipping center, huh? Nathan's voice went up like he was surprised. Man, that sounds like tough work. But it's not easy on the back. It's fine, Eric muttered. His eyes didn't leave the TV, and that's when it started. Nathan chuckled to himself and said, well, I guess. Somebody's got to move the boxes, right? I heard it from the kitchen, and I froze for a second. I knew that laugh. It wasn't friendly. It was that I'm better than you kind of laugh. I peeked out the kitchen, and I could see Eric's whole face change. His jaw tightened, eyes squinted. I knew he heard it too, but he didn't say anything, he just sat there. I didn't say anything either. I probably should have, but part of me thought if it bothers him that much, he'll say something himself. I mean, I'm not his mom. Why should I have to protect his feelings? Plus, it wasn't that deep. I figured he'd brush it off. We sat around the dining table for a bit, poured some wine, talked about work, life, whatever. Nathan was in his element, cracking jokes, throwing in stories about when he was in Italy and all that. Meanwhile, Eric just sat there, arms crossed like a kid on punishment. I asked him twice if he was all right, and he just nodded like he was. Fine, but then Nathan hit him with another one. Man, Kali, you ever think about what you'd do if you married a guy like me? Not saying you should, just saying life might look a little different, huh? The laugh that came out of me was automatic, like I didn't even think about it, it just happened. And the second it did, I regretted it. Not because of what Nathan said, but because Eric was staring dead at me, eyes locked in. You think that's funny? He asked. I stopped laughing quick. Oh, come on, Eric, he's joking. Lighten up. You're laughing a little too hard for it to be just a joke, Eric said, his tone sharp now. Man comes in my house and starts clowning me, and you sit there grinning like it's a comedy show? I rolled my eyes. Don't be so sensitive. You know how Nathan is. He jokes with everybody. Eric leaned forward, both hands on the table now. Yeah, but he ain't in everybody's house, Kali. He's in mine. It went quiet for a second. Even Nathan didn't have a comeback for that. But me? I couldn't let it sit. You're always like this, Eric. Always mad about something small. It's not that serious. I'm not about to babysit your feelings every time a man walks in the room. As soon as I said it, I knew I went too far. but I wasn't about to back down. I was already committed. Eric laughed, but it wasn't a real laugh. It was that tight, bitter one you do when you're done talking. He stood up and shook his head. Yep, that's about right, Collie. Always everybody else's fault, but yours. Enjoy your wine. He walked out the back door and I heard it slam harder than it needed to. Nathan glanced at me, still sipping his glass. Like he was watching a movie. Did I cross a line? He asked, all casual like it wasn't obvious. I shook my head. He's fine. He always gets like this when people challenge him. But he wasn't fine, I knew that, and for some reason I felt like I'd won something. He wants to act like a victim? Fine, I'll be the bad guy. I didn't care, or at least I told myself I didn't. The next morning, Eric was gone before I woke up. No text, nothing, just gone. When I woke up the next morning, the bed was colder than usual. I reached over, expecting to feel Eric, but all I felt was the flat, empty side of the mattress. He must have gone to work early, I thought. But something about it didn't sit right. Eric wasn't the leave without saying anything type. He'd at least send a text like, gone early, see you later, or something like that. I checked my phone, nothing. No missed calls, no texts. He's mad. I thought he's being petty. I shrugged it off, went about my morning routine. The kids were up, early begging for pancakes. So I got them fed and sat down at the table, scrolling through TikTok while they watched cartoons. Every now and then, I glanced at the back door like he was just gonna stroll in like nothing happened. But he didn't stop by. 11 a.m., I was starting to feel it. I texted him, "Me, you good?" No response. An hour later, I sent another one. "Me, seriously? You just gonna ignore me now?" Nothing. I started getting annoyed. So now I'm the bad guy? Over a joke? I tossed my phone on the couch and crossed my arms like I was in my own silent protest. I didn't feel guilty. Not really. He's acting like a child, I told myself. I'm not about to chase after him like one of these desperate wives on TV. But by 2 p.m., it was starting to bug me. He never stayed mad this long. Normally, he'd come home, sit on the couch, and act like nothing happened. But this time, it felt different. I called him. Straight to voicemail, "Eric? You're being ridiculous," I said in my message. My voice sharper than I meant it to be. Don't start this whole silent treatment thing. We're too grown for that. I hung up and tossed the phone aside. I felt justified in the moment. But after a while, doubt started to creep in. I started replaying the night before, Nathan's little comments, the way I left, the look on Eric's face. Maybe I shouldn't have laughed that hard. But then I heard my mom's voice in my head. Don't apologize for something you didn't do wrong. And I wasn't about to start. It wasn't like I said the joke. Nathan did. I just laughed. That's not a crime. By 5 p.m., I was irritated for real. I called him again. Straight to voicemail. "Eric, I'm not playing this game with you," I said in the message. Voice louder now because I knew he was probably listening. "If you're trying to prove a point, you did it. I get it. You're mad. Congratulations. Now come home." I was pacing the living room, my jaw tight. I felt that old familiar feeling creeping in. That urge to call him again just to see if I could push a response out of him. But I stopped myself. I hated when people did that to me. So I wasn't going to do it to him. Instead, I called my sister. Brielle, she's 29 but acts like she's my mom. I told her what happened and she had the nerve to laugh. "Girl, you know he's mad," she said, still giggling like it was cute. "You know how men get when their pride's hurt. Ain't no telling where he is. But he'll be back once he cools off." Cool off from what? I didn't even do anything. I snapped back. Brielle sighed hard into the phone. "You laughed at him in front of another man, and not just any man, your boss. That's basically putting a man's pride in a blender and hitting pulse. You know that. I didn't laugh at him. I laughed at a joke. Cully, she said my name like I was a little kid. You know good and well that man wasn't joking. He was trying to send your husband in front of you, and you let him. That stuck with me more than I wanted it to. But I wasn't about to admit it out loud. Yeah, well, if Eric wasn't so insecure, he wouldn't care. Brielle didn't even argue. She just said, "Hey girl, let me know when he gets home." And then she hung up. By 9 p.m., I had officially moved from he's being petty to where the heck is he? I started checking traffic alerts, looking up accidents near his job. I even called his friend Daryl to see if Eric was with him. "Nah, I ain't seen him today," Daryl said, sounding half asleep. "You want me to call him?" No, I already did, I said quickly, trying to sound calm. He's probably just blowing off steam. Yeah, probably, Daryl mumbled. But if he swings by, I'll tell him to check in. By 10 p.m., I was pacing for real. I texted again. Me, Eric, it's getting late. I don't care if you're mad, just let me know you're safe. Still nothing. I sat on the couch, staring at the clock, biting my nail. This didn't feel like him. No matter how mad he got, he'd never just disappear, especially with the kids home. He'd always put them first, even if we were at each other's throats. I hated how fast my mind jumped to the worst-case scenario. What? If he's in a ditch? What if something happened? I hated feeling like this. Hated feeling out of control. At 11:30, the front door unlocked. I sat up fast, heart pounding. I wanted to be relieved, but the second I saw him walk in, the relief was gone. He wasn't in his work clothes. He was in jeans and a hoodie, smelling like a bar. I knew that smell. Beer and fried food. Where have you been? I asked, standing up, hands on my hips. He didn't answer. Walked right past me like I wasn't even there. Eric, I'm talking to you, I said, stepping in front of him. You leave the house. All day, don't answer your phone, and now you're gonna act like I'm invisible? He glanced at me, eyes dull and tired. I didn't feel like talking. Well, you could have said that, I shot back. Something. I was worried about you. He snorted. He snorted. You were worried? That's rich. Excuse me? I said, stepping closer. What's that supposed to mean? He finally looked at me, really looked at me, and shook his head like he was done. You only worry when you're not in control, Collie. This ain't about me. My mouth fell open. You're being dramatic, Eric. Am I? He said, stepping around me. He grabbed a water bottle from the fridge and sat at the table like he'd lived 10 lifetimes in one day. Man's gotta disappear for a day just to get peace. Think about that. Don't try to flip this on me. I snapped, walking up to him. You think you're slick, but you're not. You just wanted to make me feel bad, and now you're playing victim. Get over yourself. He opened the water bottle slow, took a sip, and leaned back in his chair. No arguing, no yelling. Just silence. You know what's crazy? He said, still staring at me. I used to think it was my job to protect you. Protect you from stress, from money problems, from whatever. But I didn't realize I'd have to protect myself from you. He said it so calm, it felt like he stabbed me in the chest. I stood there, arms crossed, lips tight, telling myself I wasn't about to cry. But something about the way he said it wouldn't leave my head. You done? I said, trying to sound tough. He nodded slow, eyes still on me. Yeah, I'm done. He went to bed without another word. I sat on the couch, biting my nail again. He's being dramatic, I told myself. He always gets like this, but for the first time I didn't believe me. I didn't sleep much that night. I kept replaying his words in my head. I didn't realize I'd have to protect myself from you. At first, I brushed it off like he was being overly dramatic. But the more I thought about it, the more it annoyed me. Protect himself from me? I'm not some monster, I'm his wife. How am I the problem? I tried to sleep, but my mind wouldn't shut. Up, by 3 a.m., I was scrolling through Instagram. Double-tapping random pictures just to feel distracted. I even watched one of those dumb relationship guru clips that popped up on my feed. It was some guy talking about how men suffer in silence because they're too proud to speak up. Yeah. Cry me a river, I thought, rolling my eyes. Men are always the victims somehow. I scrolled past it, but it stuck in my head for some reason. The next morning, Eric was already gone before I woke up. No surprise there. But this time, I didn't wait around for him to text. I texted him first. Me leaving without saying anything now? Real mature. I waited. No reply. I told myself I didn't care, but I did. I hated feeling like I wasn't in control. Usually I could say something snarky and he'd react. But this time, he wasn't playing along. That's what's really bothering me, I realized. He's not playing my game anymore. The kids were getting ready for school and I was already on edge. Logan, our 6-year-old, kept asking me to help him tie his shoes. I kept telling him to wait a second, but he wasn't listening. Meanwhile, Emma, our 9-year-old, was crying because she couldn't find her tablet. Same routine, different day. Emma, if you don't stop whining about that tablet, I'm gonna lose it. I snapped, throwing the lunch bags into their backpacks. Mom, Logan still can't tie his shoes. Emma shot back like she was the parent now. I know, Emma, I yelled, spinning around. Y'all act like I'm supposed to do everything at once. How about you help him if you're so smart? Emma got quiet. Logan just sat there looking up at me like I was the one who needed help. I sighed hard and knelt down to tie his shoes. My fingers were tight from being so irritated, and I accidentally pulled too hard on the laces. Logan winced but didn't say anything. He never does. Just like his father, I thought, and I hated that I thought it. The whole morning was off. I could feel it in my chest. Everything felt heavier than usual. By 1 p.m., I was scrolling Instagram again when a text finally came in from Eric. Eric, I'll be home later. Don't wait up. Don't wait up? Who says that to their wife? My jaw clenched, and before I even thought about it, I called him. It rang twice before he actually picked up. Don't wait up? I said no hello, no small talk. What's that supposed to mean? It means don't. Wait up, Collie, he said, his tone so flat made me angrier. Okay, so you're just not coming home now? That's how we're doing this. Yep. The calmness in his voice had me boiling. I could feel the heat rise up my neck. Okay, you know what? If you're gonna play this little I'm too cool to argue game, you can just stay wherever you're at. All right, he said, then he hung up. Hung up. Amita, I sat there holding my phone like it had just betrayed me. My heart was racing, and I knew if I called him back, it was gonna get ugly. My fingers hovered over the call button, but I stopped myself. Don't give him the satisfaction. Instead, I called Brielle again. She picked up on the second ring. Girl, what now? She said, already sounding tired. He's really trying to play this I'm done with you role, I said, pacing the living room. Telling me not to wait up, hanging up on me like he's unbothered. He's never done that before. Uh-oh, Brielle said, half joking. You might have pushed him. Too far this time? Pushed him too far? Are you seriously taking his side right now? I barked. I'm not taking sides, Collie. I'm telling you what it is. Men don't say stuff like, don't wait up, unless they're trying to prove a point. And it sounds like he's tired of you making everything a joke. That's not even true, I argued, but it felt weak coming out of my mouth. Okay. Brielle said slowly. But if it's not true, why are you so mad right now? That question hit harder than I wanted it to. Whatever, I said, rubbing my forehead. He can act tough if he wants. I'm not about to beg him to come home. All right, girl, keep me posted, Brielle said, but I knew she was thinking the same thing I was. Something's different this time. That night, I sat in the living room watching reality shows with the TV on low, pretending not to care about Eric. Still wasn't home. I kept checking the time, scrolling through Instagram, watching people post about self-love and putting yourself first like they were all in perfect relationships. It made me sick. By 10:30 p.m., I was done waiting. I texted him again. Me, you really not coming home? Seriously? No answer. Me, I hope you're enjoying yourself wherever you are. It must be nice not having to deal with the kids all day. Still nothing. See, this is why I don't feel bad about last night, If you're gonna act like this every time you get your feelings hurt, I'm not walking on eggshells for you. I sat there waiting for the little typing bubble to pop up. Nothing, fine, be like that. I threw my phone on the cushion next to me and folded my arms, watching TV like I was unbothered, but I was very much bothered. I kept glancing at the phone every few minutes. When I didn't see a message, I started thinking of where he could be. With Daryl? At his mom's house? At a bar? Then, for some reason, I thought of something I never let cross my mind. What if he's with another woman? I shook my head fast, like I was shaking that thought loose. Eric wouldn't do that. I knew him too well. He's not that type of guy. But my brain didn't care. It kept playing little scenarios like a bad movie. Him sitting in a car talking to some girl who's nodding like she understands him in a way I don't. My jaw tightened again. If that's what he wants to do, then he can stay gone. I grabbed my phone, heart pounding, and texted one more time. Me, don't bother coming back tonight. I'm locking the door. I didn't mean it. Not really, but I knew it would hit him where it hurt. I wanted it to hurt. This time I watched the phone for 10 whole minutes, waiting for the typing bubble. Come on, say something. Say you're sorry. Say you're coming home, but it never came. By 1 a.m. I was pacing again. I checked the door. I didn't lock it, but I wanted to. I sat at the kitchen table scrolling Facebook, but my eyes kept drifting to the clock. At 1:23 a.m., I heard the car pull up. I shot up from my seat like I'd been waiting for this moment all night. I stood by the door, hands on my hips, ready to let him have it. I heard his keys in the lock. When he opened the door, I expected him to look guilty, but he didn't. He looked calm. And that's what scared me. You finally done pouting? I asked, my voice sharper than I meant it to be. He didn't answer right away. He set his keys down, took off his jacket, and looked at me like I was just somebody in his house. I'm tired, Kali, he said quietly. I was ready to argue, but something in his tone stopped me cold. He didn't mean sleepy. He meant done. When he said, I'm tired, it hit different. Not that I had a long day kind of tired. It was something deeper. Something I hadn't heard before. I stood there, arms crossed, trying to act unbothered. Yeah, well, you're not the only one, I snapped back. You think I'm over here living a dream life or something? Eric didn't even flinch. Usually, he'd argue back, say something sarcastic. But this time, he just stared at me for a second, like he was seeing me for the first time. Like he finally understood something I hadn't caught on to yet. That's the thing. Kali, he said quietly, shaking his head. I don't think you even know what you want. But I do now. My heart dropped. What's that supposed to mean? I asked, squinting at him like I had him figured out, but I didn't, not this time. He didn't answer right away. He just walked into the bedroom, grabbed a duffel bag from the top of the closet and started packing. I stood there frozen, my mind racing. He's not really doing this, he's just mad. This is a show, but it wasn't. Where are you going, Eric? I asked, my voice louder now. Where do you think you're going at 1 a.m. with a duffel bag like you in some action movie? I tried to laugh, but it didn't hit. He didn't look at me. He folded a pair of jeans and slid them into the bag like it was just another Tuesday. Eric. I said his name slower this time. Where do you think you're going? He finally looked up, and I saw it. That look. It's the look a man gives when he's done talking. The one that comes right before everything changes. He told me not to come back, he said, zipping the bag up. So I'm not. My chest got tight. I felt my whole body tense up like I was bracing for a hit. Boy, stop playing, I said, stepping forward. I snatched at his bag, but he yanked it back before I could grab it. You're not going anywhere. I could hear the shake in my voice. Don't let him see it, Kali. Don't let him think he's winning. He walked past me toward the front door. My mind was scrambling for something to say. Something that would stop him in his tracks. Say anything. So you just gone walk out on your family? I yelled, following behind him. You a whole grown man, but you can't handle an argument without packing a bag? Yeah, he said, glancing back at me, his eyes calm but sharp. I'm walking out on you. I'm not walking out on my kids. I blinked, stunned for a second. Oh, so now you're father of the year? I said, laughing bitterly. Since when? Since you stopped being a wife and started being my competition, he fired back. He opened the front door and stepped outside. That one hit me hard. Harder than anything he'd ever said. It stung in a way I wasn't ready for. You're just mad 'cause I don't bow down to you like I'm one of your little employees. I shot back, stepping halfway out the door. You want some submissive little housewife who bites her tongue all day? Go ahead, go find her, Eric. I was yelling now, the words coming out faster than I could think. He turned around on the porch, looked me dead in my face, and said, I don't want a submissive wife, Kali. I just want a peaceful one. My mouth opened, but nothing came out. He walked down the steps and kept going toward his car. I stood there, heart pounding, watching him unlock the door like he was in slow motion. I could have said something. I should have said something, but pride wouldn't let me. You'll be back, I said, arms folded. My voice wasn't as loud this time. I sounded like I was trying to convince myself. You'll be back. He didn't turn around. When I heard the engine start, my heart started racing faster. I felt a panic I hadn't felt before. This ain't like before. He's not coming back tonight. But still, I stood on that porch with my arms crossed like I had it under control. He pulled out of the driveway without hesitation. No pause, no second glance. When the taillights disappeared down the street, it hit me all at once. He's really gone. I went back inside, slammed the door harder than I needed to, and leaned against it. My breath was coming fast, my heart thudding. In my chest, I could feel tears building up behind my eyes, but I sucked them in. No, don't cry. You didn't do anything wrong. I sat down on the couch, phone in hand, waiting for him to text me like he always did, but no message came. I refreshed the screen every 5 minutes, staring at the time like I could will it to happen. 1:42 a.m., 2:45 a.m., nothing. The next few days were rough. He didn't come home and I didn't reach out. I figured he was waiting for me to apologize like I always do, but this time I refused. I wasn't gonna let him think he had all the power. By day 4, I finally texted him, "Me, are you done with your little break? The kids are asking where you are." He didn't answer. That's when I started to get nervous, not because I missed him, but because I realized something I never considered before. What if he's serious? I scrolled through his Facebook page, but he hadn't posted anything. No feeling blessed status. No. Cryptic new beginnings quotes. Nothing, but I saw one thing I didn't like. He changed his profile picture. It wasn't him. It was just a picture of a plain black square. No caption. No explanation. What does that even mean? I thought. I clicked his relationship status out of curiosity. It still said married. I breathed a small sigh of relief, telling myself, see, he's just being dramatic. If he was serious, he'd change that first. That piece lasted about 2 hours. Then Emma came into the kitchen holding my phone. "Mom, your phone is ringing," she said, handing it to me. It was an unknown number. "Hello," I answered, distracted as I folded laundry. "Hi, is this Cully Thomas?" said a woman's voice, formal but firm. "Yeah, who's this?" "This is Angela from Bailey and Myers Law Firm," she said, her tone as smooth as glass. "I'm calling on behalf of Eric Thomas regarding a pending legal matter." I stopped folding. My heart stopped too. Wait, I said, gripping the phone tighter. "What legal matter?" "I'm reaching out to confirm your mailing address. We'll be sending over paperwork regarding the filing of a legal separation," she said, not missing a beat. "Do you still reside at address?" I swear I didn't breathe for 10 seconds. Yeah. I stammered, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. "All right, you should be receiving that within 2 to 3 business days. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to our office directly." Click. The call ended. I just stood there, phone in hand, eyes wide like I'd seen a ghost. Legal separation? He didn't even tell me. He just did it. I dropped the phone on the counter and sat down slowly, my legs feeling weak. My kids were laughing in the living room, oblivious. I wanted to tell them to quiet down, but I couldn't even get the words out for the first time in a long time. I realized I didn't have control. I sat there staring at nothing, waiting for my phone to buzz with a message from Eric. It never did.